Small, pocket-shaped objects have been hung on walls for storage for thousands of years. Usually called wall pockets, these hanging features might hold items ranging from pens and pencils, matches, bits of knitting or sewing, pairs of scissors, loose notes, or newspaper clippings. It was only in the late 19th century, when cut flowers became readily available in Europe and America, that people began seeking inexpensive containers for flowers. And in many kitchens, table surfaces are usually in short supply. You've probably seen pottery vases hanging on kitchen walls. They sometimes look like brightly colored plates or plaques with a built-in opening for hanging. Today in class, you will make your own ceramic wall pocket. On your desk, you should have a rolling pin, a stylus, cone cups, a wet wipe, a slab of clay, your own scissors, and a little cup with water. We're probably going to put that aside for now. The first thing we're going to need to do is to roll out our clay. It has to be a little bit bigger than the slab you were given to make a wall pocket. How large should your clay slab be? Well, this is when we're going to go get one of those cone shapes I gave you, and we're going to use this as a form. And to do that, we need to use our scissors to cut right up the center. Our end shape will be the pattern we're going to use to cut our clay to make the cone wall pocket. So open that up, lay it down against the slab you have, and right now, mine is still too small, so I need to go back to my rolling pin and make it a bit larger. Okay, it looks like I'm about ready to see if that pattern fits on my clay slab again. And it looks like at this angle, yes, it will fit. I can push it down and I can grab my stylus and cut around it. Now, I want you to note on the cut edges, I'm leaving a space between. See, I'm not cutting right along. I'm going to give it a little space on this edge, and then I'm going to slice along this pattern line at the top, and then I'm going to continue with that little bit of excess along the other side as well. You'll notice that when I do the bottom edge, I go right up against the pattern. I do not leave any excess on that curved bottom edge. It's completely unnecessary for the project that we're working on. And once we take away the last part of the excess, we're left with the shape that we need to make our wall pocket. The next part of this project involves some patterning. In your classroom, you should have some crochet doilies. You'll also have a few options of stamps you could use. I wouldn't say go with both, maybe one or the other, but that's still up to you. I'm going to go with the doily, and I'm going to lay it across my clay very carefully. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin, and I'm going to lightly press down. I don't really want to increase the shape size more than it is, but I want to lightly press this pattern into my clay. And so you'll notice I go up and down. I'm going to go from left to right very, very lightly. I am just slightly using some pressure as I go over it. And I'm going to pull up an edge to see if I feel this is enough. And I'm actually going to put it back down and do it once more, just a little bit heavier. Okay, I think it's time again to check to see if I like the pattern and if I feel I pressed it in well enough. And yes, I do. I see all the pattern there. So I pull off the doily. And next thing I'm going to do is, if you did choose a stamp, I would like you to see how I would tackle it. I would look at the stamp options and then pick the one that I wish to do. You could pick more than one, but we are going to be sharing these supplies. So I am picking this stamp, and I'm once again lightly pressing, not trying to press through it, just a little bit to make sure that this image comes off, and that later when we do glazing, you can make those spots very interesting with different pops of color. In addition to using the stamps, you can also use the end of your stylus to make dots. You could possibly even sketch in something small, which means very, very light marking with the pointy end of your stylus, but not digging through as in to cut your clay any further. You could even try in pressing a thumbprint to personalize it. Now is the time where you're going to want to take out that last cone shape and start to place your clay on it and use that cone as a form. This is the trickiest part of this project, because this excess that you left on these edges, this is the exact reason, so you can pinch them together and you can close off this shape. This might take you using a little bit of water. You might need to use the edge of your stylus. This is the most critical part of this project, so please take your time. Raise your hand if you need help, and when everyone's ready, then we'll get to the next part. Once you feel you have the outside sealed, remove your cone shape, look inside, check to see how the seal looks. Take a little bit of water, clean up the edges of your project, make them a little bit smoother. Next, please grab your stylus, and you're going to put in the holes we are going to use to thread and hang our wall pockets. So I'm choosing here on one side about an inch away from the edge of my shape, and I'm going very slowly. You can see the clay pushes in as I move the stylus, very slowly with a little bit of a twisting motion. That way it goes in, and I can also use the edge of the stylus to clean up the inside where the clay pushed out. And I go right across on the other side, same distance from the lip of the clay. I'm going to slowly push in while twisting without damaging my clay shape to create a second hole. Once you've completed that step, please place your cone shape back inside of your clay project. That way it helps keep its form while it dries. Also, right along the edge where I finished the seam, right around there is where I'm going to want you to place your name. You will notice I'm using very light pressure, and that each time I make a line with the stylus, I go clean off the end of it because it will pick up clay, and your letters will end up bulky and very messy if you do not clean off the tip of the stylus as you go from letter to letter of your name. Please keep the paper cone inside of your clay piece. That way it'll help maintain the shape while drying. Here are several examples made by our Pause Art volunteer team. Hopefully you can find some inspiration in the way they chose to do their piece.